the soup. It is so delicious. It's Panera's fall season soup that they have, and it's so good, you guys. If you haven't tried it, you need to. It's really tasty. I don't think they have it in the actual restaurants yet, but a lot of grocery stores, at least in the United States, carry the Panera soups in little like microwave containers, and they did have this kind in the store, so that's where I got it. It is a little better when you get it like from the restaurant, I think, but the store-bought kind is still good. So if you don't have a Panera near you, but you can find the store-bought soup in your local grocery store, definitely get it. It's really tasty. So let's dig in. It's kind of hot. Sorry, I'm just adjusting, you guys. I really need to like fix this table because it's so wobbly. Like every time I move, it just wobbles. Oh well. Now, this soup is a sweeter soup. It's, I don't know, it's not like sweet, but it's sweet and savory. Like it's, because you know how like sometimes butternut squash and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure it's butternut squash in here. You know, it can be kind of sweet, and I think they season it with like cinnamon and stuff like that. So it's like a sweet and savory soup. It's really good though. Even if that doesn't sound delicious to you, I would try this. I think it's so good. And it just tastes like fall. This would be really good if you're going to the actual restaurant, like in their bread bowls that they have. So good. But it's equally as good out of tentacle mugs. And I'm also wearing a very fall shirt today. I like this shirt. It's nice and flowy and comfortable. Yeah. So, my soup is still a little too hot for me, so I'm gonna let it cool for a bit. And while we wait, I figured I would tell you some ghost stories that have happened to me, and they're not anything like too crazy. They're more just like weird things. But still, hey, it's 13 days of Halloween, so we gotta tell some creepy stories. But yeah, some of my friends growing up, like motion censored. Like sometimes they'll just come on, like it happens at work all the time, where like the lights will flicker and like the sink will go on, and it's just like because of the wiring and like stuff like that. But these things were not motion, like you had to turn the knobs, and like, yeah, so just, I don't know, creepy stuff like that would happen. But nothing creepy ever happened to me at school. My creepy experiences happened, it would have been like 3 years ago, and I just moved to the state that I'm in now, and I was working in the old like state hospital. So this was where they kept basically like it was where they kept patients with like mental health issues. It was, you know, the state hospital back in the day, you know, they just didn't have the same resources we do now. So, you know, it was not like a great place, and but it shut down like years and years and years ago, and now it's converted into mostly like government offices and just non-profit offices and things like that. So sorry, my spoon is all covered here. But so yeah, my office was in that like campus of buildings, and it was definitely haunted. I mean, some of the stuff, like, because you would just hear like weird noises, and some of it was just the way that the building was like structured. Like, I think you could hear like people walking down the hall and people walking like upstairs. So like that kind of stuff you could easily explain away. And other things were just like the general creepiness of the building. Like, they had tunnels underground that would go between the buildings of the campus, and that was where like storage was. I only went down there like once, but my friend worked in one of the other buildings on that campus, and his building was supposed to be like really haunted. And he would have to go down in the tunnels like a lot just to get stuff. And he said like there was still like old like beds and stuff like that, and it was creepy down there. So, you know, a lot of that, just like the stories that you hear and the general like creepiness, like, yeah, you're gonna like psych yourself up. But I will tell you, I was usually the first person in my office in the morning, and usually the last one to leave. And often when I was alone, we had cubicles in my office, so I had a cubicle, and I couldn't see like the main entrance to our like office. So I'd be like in my cubicle working, only one there, and it would feel like someone was right outside the cube. So I'd go and look to see if it was somebody who was like, you know, waiting or something. No one was there. Peek down the hall. No one was there. And it wasn't like I was hearing footsteps or anything like that. That could be like, oh, it's just somebody upstairs down the hall, and it was just that quick. No. It was just like a feeling I had that someone was there. Like, someone was there. I would have like bet money on it, and no one was there. No one was anywhere around. So that was always really creepy. But it was just creepy, like, you know, whatever. And my coworker would tell stories about like one time like something was like chucked at him, and like nobody else was in the office, like he was there alone, and like something was chucked at him, you know. So like I was like, okay, like at least that's not happening. But that one time we were eating lunch, and we had like a little area that we used as like a kitchen, and it had like a microwave and a mini fridge and all this other stuff. And on top of the mini fridge we had like a few different vases, and it would be like, you know, sudden, one of the vases just falls off the fridge and down onto the table below it. And it wasn't like teetering on the edge or anything. It was, you know, it wasn't like in the middle of the mini fridge. It was off to the side, but it wasn't like hanging on the edge. And this was in an office building. There was no breeze. Like, there wasn't any windows near it. We weren't moving. The people in the office over weren't moving. Like, nothing was happening that would make that vase go boop. So, that was pretty creepy. But the creepiest story I have from working in that office was, I think it was just me and the administrative assistant that were there at this point. And we had a girl in our office who would use this typewriter. It was like one that I think it like plugged into the wall and then you would just like use it. And she would use it to type up mailing labels. Well, she was gone for the day. She'd used it, you know, a couple hours before, maybe turned it off, like it was not on. It was still plugged into the wall, obviously, because we didn't unplug it, but like it was turned off. She wasn't using it. She hadn't been using it. No one was near it. All of a sudden, it starts typing on its own. And me and the administrative assistant, like, we're just like looking at each other, like, what the bleep is going on? And like, it didn't have any paper in it, so we couldn't like see what was being typed. But I wanted to like put paper in it. But the administrative assistant went over and like unplugged it. But that was really sketchy because it just started typing on its own. Like, I don't know. And I mean, I don't know what would have caused that. Maybe like some sort of power surge, but it's like you have to like press down the keys. Like, I don't know. It was creepy. But I think it would have been interesting, like if it did have paper in it, to see like if it was just like gibberish that was being typed or like what, you know. Creepy. Super creepy. So yeah. And yeah, nothing creepy has happened to me at my current place that I work at, but yeah, or my apartment, though. Gentleman friend has claimed to see a ghost here, but I never have. And nothing really weird happens here, except every once in a while my bed will like vibrate. And most of the time, like, I will actively be like aware of my surroundings and like no heavy traffic is going by, nobody in the next apartment over is like moving or doing anything. It's just my bed is shaking. Though recently it happened and I thought I could hear somebody in the apartment over like walking, so I kind of attributed it to that, even though I know that other times I've heard nothing. And then it happened like again. It was either like later that night or the night after, and like I didn't hear anyone moving, and again like no big trucks were going by, it wasn't windy out. I don't know, but that's the only like weird thing that happens in my apartment, which my building is very old, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was haunted. And my landlords weren't sure, but they thought it used to be a convent, so one would hope if it was haunted, it was just by friendly ghosts of nuns. But who knows? The ghost gentleman friend saw was not a nun. He said he was like a guy with like long gray hair and he was in like a brown like robe. But I don't know if it was like pajamas or maybe he was like a friar or a monk. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it for guys. Story is, when I was younger, like still in elementary school, I was in Girl Scouts, and we used to do like log-ins basically. Like we had all of our meetings at a local church, and we would do log-ins at that church, and our meetings always kind of took place like, you know, after school, so they were like in the evening, and we would tell each other stories about hearing the organ in the church being played when no one was around, and we attributed it to this ghost called Billy Bob Joe. And we would like sing, like pretend we were the organ, like Billy Bob Joe, Billy Bob Joe. It was like legend. And so then like when we had the lock-in, like we would like freak each other out, be like, oh my god, I just heard Billy Bob Joe. And we would like go through the hallways, and like doors would open, and we like were like, oh, like, and it was probably like one of us that like did it, and I'm sure like none of us ever heard the organ, or like maybe we did one time and it was legit like someone from the church just practicing. Like at this point I don't know if we ever heard anything, or if it was just like us telling stories to try to freak each other out, because we were all pretty into those books, and I know some of you know what I'm talking about. Scary stories to tell in the dark. We used to read those all the time. They had them in our school's library. We even brought them to the login, so we were like obsessed with that. So like, of course, like we'd want to like freak each other out with our own like ghost stories. But it was like legend in my friend group for a while, like the legend of Billy Bob Joe. So who knows, maybe there was a ghost. I don't know. But those stories though, those were dope. And then now there's all the controversy about them wanting to like change the pictures and stuff to make them like less creepy. Which, like, the pictures in those books were terrifying. Some of them still freak me out if I think about them. But yeah, those books were the bomb. Bomb.com. Have you guys ever had any paranormal experiences? If so, tell me a story in the comments. Some of you might think it's weird to eat soup out of a mug, and normally I don't, but I feel like every liquidy Halloween-y thing that I do for these videos, I need to do in this because it's just fabulous. I love this mug. I do also have a skull cup, but that can only be for cold things, so I don't know if I'll get to use that. But my grandparents used to always serve soup out of mugs. So, like at my house, whenever we had soup, we just used bowls. But I used to spend a lot of time at my grandparents' house. Like they would babysit me, and I'd be over there almost every weekend. And whenever we had soup, we would have them out of mugs. So, shout out to my grandparents here. But it does kind of make sense because, like I'm doing just now, like you get kind of toward the bottom, and it's just easier to drink the soup. So when it's in a mug, it's super easy. Seriously though, this soup is so good. And I am not a huge soup fan. I like soup, but it doesn't usually like fill super satisfy me unless it's more like stew-like, but this one is just so like creamy and rich and just delicious. And I don't know if there's cream in this. There might be a little bit, but it's, you know, it's basically like squash and spices like blended up, and then there might be a little cream or milk, but it's so good. And last year I was gonna make my own version of this, and I even bought like a immersion blender, and I never got around to making it. So maybe this year I will do it, because it is delicious and it is just so perfect for the fall and the winter. It's just such a like cozy, satisfying soup. Like, it really is. It's just very warming. And it's kind of dreary out today. Like, it was nice for most of the day, and then, you know, kind of in the afternoon it just got gloomy, and I think it rained a little bit. It didn't like pour or anything, but it was just kind of like dreary and drizzly and just, yeah. All done. My allergies have been bad lately too, with the like change in weather that we've been having. It's been like wreaking havoc on my allergies. Like, literally this morning I was driving to work and like crying. Not because I was sad, just because of my allergies. Anyway, brownie time. I think this video is actually long because my camera's cut out twice. Usually it only comes out once. Who knew eating soup would be so lengthy? I can get this package open. There we go. Oh no, he broke. He broke. But there you go. He's cute. These brownies